Each lesson of the course is broken into two main sections. The first section of each lesson is the study dialogue. The study dialogues are really the core of the course and should be where you focus the majority of your attention. The included dialogues are 1 to 2 minute conversations between two Spanish speakers discussing a particular topic. The dialogue is presented on the audio files and is also transcribed as text along with an English translation. You should complete the following step-by-step approach to studying each dialogue. Step 1 is to play the first audio file named Dialogue for Fluency. This file contains the entire conversation with short pauses in between each sentence. Listen through the entire conversation and try to pick out any words or phrases that you may already know. You may not understand very much the first time through, but this is perfectly fine. At this point, we are simply trying to get your brain into the habit of listening and working to recognize any words that you may already know. The second step is to read and study the text dialogue in Spanish. This is the main study portion of the lesson, so plan on spending a bit of time here. You should work through each line of written dialogue until you understand the meaning of every line. Do not worry too much about grammar at this point. Simply study and memorize each line until you're able to read each sentence in Spanish and understand what it means without looking at the English translation. The lessons are structured so that any new vocabulary presented in the conversation is shown in the right-hand column opposite the dialogue. You do not have to memorize each vocabulary word by itself, but you should memorize each line of the actual dialogue before moving on to the next step. Give yourself up to an hour or more to study and memorize the entire dialogue. You are done when you can understand the meaning of each sentence without looking at the English translation. The third step is to play the second audio file marked Dialogue for Pronunciation. This breaks down the full conversation into smaller parts and is designed to help you to recognize the words more clearly, as well as to improve your own ability to pronounce the material. Listen to the audio and repeat each item aloud in the pauses provided. Although the focus here is on listening and pronunciation, you should start to recognize most of the words from your previous study of the written dialogue. Feel free to look at the written dialogue if you need help understanding any of the words in the audio. Now, listen to the dialogue for fluency again, this time without looking at the text. As you go through the audio, you should be able to understand considerably more material than when you first started. However, there may still be a few gaps between what you learned on paper and what you can recognize from the audio. Rewind and re-listen to the dialogue again, focusing on picking out any words that you still do not recognize. You should repeat the audio until you can comfortably understand the entire conversation using the audio portion alone. Although these steps may seem a little complicated at first, the basic idea is that we use the text to learn new words and phrases, and then use the audio files to learn to recognize and reproduce the new material verbally. This is a well-tested approach designed to rapidly improve your ability to use and understand oral Spanish in the context of real conversation.